At Christmas, my mom mocked me for being a taxi driver and kicked me out saying we're not doing charity. I didn't argue. I just stopped covering their temporary emergencies. Months later, they regretted it. Sup Reddit. So I, 37 male, drove out through snow on Christmas morning to see my family after months of not seeing them. Spoiler alert, should have stayed home. Left my apartment in suburban Philly around 8:30 a.m. Coffee in the cup holder, some jazz version of Silver Bells playing through the speakers. Reminded me of when Dad was still alive and holidays actually meant something. Back when my family acted like a family instead of a pyramid scheme with me at the bottom. The drive usually took 40 minutes, but with the snow it stretched closer to an hour. Gave me plenty of time to think about what I'd been noticing for months. The patterns, the timing of their emergencies. Funny how someone always needed car repairs right before beach photos showed up on Instagram. 3 years ago, I was driving a cab 12 hours a day, 6 days a week. Wasn't glamorous, but airport runs and late nights pay cash. And cash adds up when you're not blowing it on nonsense. Honest work, paid the bills. Nothing to be ashamed of. Now, I was regional operations manager for one of the largest freight logistics companies on the East Coast. 6 figures, corner office, team of 15. I managed shipping routes across 14 states. When containers moved from Newark to Norfolk, my signature was somewhere in the chain. Different life entirely. Same family, though. That was the problem. Here's the thing. My family wasn't always a collection of leeches and nice sweaters. Growing up, we were tight. Mom used to brag about me to neighbors. Natalie and I would stay up late talking about our futures. Dad was the glue, and even after he passed, things stayed okay for a while. But something shifted when I got promoted. When I went from cab driver to guy who makes more than them. Suddenly, I wasn't the little brother who needed guidance. I was competition, a threat, someone who'd leveled up without asking permission. The jokes started small. Little digs about my apartment, my car, my life choices. Then they got meaner. And I started paying closer attention. Started keeping receipts. Literally. Spent 3 weeks finding perfect gifts for the kids. Hit up Target, Barnes & Noble, that specialty toy store downtown that charges double because it has exposed brick walls. Aiden was turning 8 soon, obsessed with anything dinosaur related. Got him this motorized T-Rex kit that roared and walked, plus a fossil dig set. Lily was 10 going on 30, already devouring books faster than I could recommend them. Found her the complete Percy Jackson series in hardcover, plus an illustrated mythology encyclopedia. Back seat was loaded. Also grabbed generic candles for Natalie and a specialty coffee set for her husband Keith. The obligatory grown-up gifts you buy when you don't actually like someone, but still have to show up with something. Pulled into Natalie's driveway around 10:15. Hour late because of the snow, but I'd texted twice about the delay. Like a reasonable adult. Keith's Silverado was there, parked crooked like he'd been in a hurry to get inside and contribute nothing to the holiday. Mom's old Camry too. I stared at that Camry and did the math. 2 years of insurance premiums at $90 a month. Over $2,000. For a car I don't drive. For a woman who'd never once said thank you. Wondered if that premium spike she'd cried about was even real or just another story. Through the living room window, I could see the Christmas tree. Lights twinkling. Presents underneath. Movement inside. Probably Keith pouring himself coffee from beans I paid for. Looked warm in there. Looked like family. Looked like people who'd been cashing my checks for years while rehearsing their next sob story. Hands were freezing when I grabbed the gift bags. Gloves were buried somewhere under the passenger seat because I'm a functional disaster. Balanced everything carefully. Made my way up the porch steps. Wood creaked under my boots. Fresh snow on the welcome mat. Very Hallmark. Very deceptive. Rang the doorbell. Ring camera blinked at me. Footsteps inside. Expected Lily to answer. Maybe Aiden checking for Santa. Maybe Mom with one of her tight hugs that never quite felt genuine but at least felt like effort. Got Natalie instead. Joy. She opened the door already annoyed. Hadn't even seen who it was yet. Oh, Matt. You finally decided to show up. An hour late on Christmas morning. I texted you twice about the snow. Roads were, let me guess, arms crossed, blocking the doorway like a bouncer at a club nobody wants to enter. Too busy with your important job to leave on time? Or maybe you just didn't think we were worth the effort. Jaw tightened, but I kept my voice level. Been keeping my voice level for months, waiting for them to finally say out loud what they'd been thinking. Mom's voice floated from inside, sharp and amused. Is that the taxi driver? Tell him we already opened presents without him. He can't just show up whenever it's convenient. There it is. We're not running a charity here, Matt. Natalie dropped her voice like she was sharing a secret. You spent half your life embarrassing this family, and now you show up late on Christmas morning without asking how anyone's been. When's the last time you called Mom? Asked about the kids' school? You only reach out when you want to feel good about yourself. Keith appeared behind her, coffee mug in hand, eyes flicking between us and the floor. That was his whole contribution. Same guy who'd needed me to co-sign his equipment loan because banks took one look at his credit score and laughed. Standing there sipping coffee I probably paid for, doing absolutely nothing. Peak Keith. Mom joined the welcoming committee, Christmas sweater, fake sympathy face. Matt, honey, you look cold. Tilted her head like she actually cared. Still alone, I see. No girlfriend this year either? Must be hard watching everyone else have real families while you're out there by yourself. Knife twist. Your father worked himself to death giving you opportunities, and you chose to drive a cab. Now look at you. Showing up late, never calling, acting like you're too important for your own family. I'm not here for money. Voice came out cold. Good. And I texted about being late. Natalie laughed. Actually laughed. Right. That's why you drove through a snowstorm on Christmas morning. Because you care so much. When's the last time you asked about Lily's grades? Aiden's soccer games? You don't even know what's going on in their lives. The kids are having a nice Christmas, Mom added. They don't need to see their uncle making a scene because he can't handle being called out. Keith shifted, sipped coffee, said nothing. Absolute legend of uselessness. And right there, standing on that porch holding gift bags for kids whose mom was blocking me from seeing them, something I'd been waiting for finally clicked. They'd finally said the quiet part loud. I'd suspected for months I was nothing but a wallet to these people. Now I had confirmation. Years of covering Natalie's wedding costs, co-signing Keith's loans, paying Mom's insurance. Every temporary emergency that became my permanent responsibility. And they saw me as a joke, an ATM with legs, a charity case who should be grateful they let him show up at all. I took a breath, kept my voice level. Okay, turned and walked back toward my car. We'll see. That's it? Natalie called after me. You're just gonna leave? Typical. Can't even apologize for being late. Didn't respond. Opened my trunk, grabbed the gift bags, walked back up those porch steps. Set them down carefully in front of the door. Natalie stared at the bags like they'd materialized from thin air. Expression shifted when she saw the dinosaur wrapping paper. The specialty store tags. These are for Aiden and Lily. Voice flat. Merry Christmas. Mom's eyes went wide at the Barnes & Noble bag. Hardcover Percy Jackson visible through the tissue paper. Matt, you didn't have to. You're right, I didn't. Wait, Matt, Keith started. Already walking down those steps. Spine straight. Head up. Door closed behind me. Not a slam, just quiet. Like they'd suddenly realized they might have miscalculated. Sat in the driver's seat. Hands on steering wheel, engine running, heater blasting cold air that would eventually warm up. Phone buzzed. Text from Keith. Hey, rough timing. Hope you got home safe. Incredible. The man watched his wife and mother-in-law kick me out on Christmas morning, and his contribution was a text that said, rough timing. Poetry. Opened my phone and started making calls. Not angry calls, not emotional calls. Calls I'd been mentally rehearsing for 6 months. Today was just the permission slip I'd been waiting for. Sat in my car exactly 2 minutes before making the first call. Not to family. To an attorney I'd researched 3 months ago during one of Mom's suspicious emergency requests. Kept his number saved, just in case. Explained the situation in 3 minutes flat. Co-signed loans, authorized credit cards, family plan accounts, the whole circus. You want to know your exposure, he said. Not a question. I want to know my options. Smart. Most people wait until they're getting sued. He laid it out clean. Anything I co-signed, I was liable for. Anything with my name on it, they could tank my credit. Document everything. Communicate in writing. Remove myself properly. Don't threaten. Don't get emotional. Just close accounts and file notices. Paid him $250. Got an email an hour later with the full playbook. Phone plan, insurance, credit cards, loans, storage contracts. Everything mapped out. Phase 1 was go. First call, Verizon. I need to remove 2 lines from my family plan. Natalie and Lily. Effective immediately. Rep quoted $80 per line. Worth every penny compared to the monthly bleeding I'd been doing for years. Process it. Are you sure? You'll lose the family plan discount and... I'm sure. Got put on hold. Needed supervisor approval. Changes went live 2 days later. First delay. Didn't matter. I had time. And patience. And spreadsheets. Opened my banking app. The subscription list scrolled forever. Netflix with 4 profiles under my name. Mom, Natalie, Keith, all mooching. Gone. Keith had literally named his profile Keith's Cave, like he owned the place. Not anymore. Hulu with the live TV add-on Keith insisted he needed for sports he watched alone. Cancelled. Disney Plus that Natalie set up for the kids but used more than anyone. Deleted. My fingers moved across the screen like I was running logistics. Click, confirm, remove. Methodical, surgical, no anger, just efficiency. Each tap was a cord being cut. Mom's car insurance was the main event, called State Farm. I need to remove a vehicle from my policy. Agent pulled my account. That's your mother's vehicle, correct? Correct. She'll need to secure her own coverage. Policy terms require notice until end of billing cycle, January 31st. Process it. Confirmation email came 2 days later. Mom had until January 31st. Plenty of time. More than fair, more than she deserved. Natalie's gym membership was $49 a month out of my account. She went twice a month, usually to sit in the sauna and post wellness journey selfies. Cancelled. That boutique massage subscription I'd gifted her last birthday? $90 a month for sessions she attended maybe 3 times total. Gone. Amazon Prime was family shared. Natalie used it for clothes she'd order and return. Keith used it for tools. Mom used it for groceries. Switched to individual plan. Just me now. Funny how fast family can shrink. Then came the real work. The wedding. Natalie's wedding 3 years ago. Agreed to help cover costs when Keith's family bailed. $8,000 I'd saved driving that cab she loved mocking. My emergency fund. Instead, it bought her the venue upgrade, premium catering, a photographer who charged triple what any sane person would pay. Couldn't get that money back. But I could stop paying for the honeymoon cruise she'd put on my credit card with the promise of monthly payments. 3 years later, she'd made exactly 4 payments before conveniently developing amnesia. Balance sat at $6,000 with interest. Called the credit card company. Remove Natalie as an authorized user and flag her card for unauthorized charges going forward. Processed immediately. Smart rep. The car. Natalie's Honda CR-V. She'd needed it desperately when her old car died before Lily started school. I'd co-signed because her credit was trash. Made the down payment too. $4,000. Ended up making most of the monthly payments when she kept missing them. Temporary help. Right. Because I'd already gotten suspicious, I'd insisted my name go on the title as co-owner. Told her it was for insurance purposes. It was leverage. Best decision I ever made. Called my attorney. The car loan. I'm co-signer and co-owner. What are my options? Co-owner changes everything. You have legal claim. Send written notice giving 60 days to refinance or agree to sell and split proceeds. If ignored, file partition action. Courts hate those. Messy and expensive. Usually the threat moves people. Another $200. Worth it. Attorney drafted the notice. Sent certified mail, professional, clean. No emotion. Keith's landscaping equipment loan was the same deal. 2 years ago, his business needed mowers, trimmers, a trailer. Banks laughed at his application. I'd co-signed. $12,000 I was liable for if he stopped paying. Sent formal requests to both lenders asking for removal options. Same answer everywhere. No removal without refinancing. Fine. Sent Keith a separate notice. Refinance within 90 days, or I report the equipment as collateral and pursue legal remedies. Let him Google what that meant. Spoiler, he did. His search history probably looked like a law school final that week. Storage unit was easy. 10 by 10 under my name. $95 a month. Signed the lease 4 years ago when they needed temporary space during a move. Temporary, sure. Called the facility. 30 days notice on Unit 247. Items need to be removed by January 27th. Manager wanted it in writing. Sent the email. Confirmation next morning. After January 27th, everything inside gets auctioned, per their agreement. Whole process took a week. Day 1, phone and subscriptions. Day 2, insurance. Day 3, storage. Day 4, car notice. Day 5, equipment loan notice. Rest of the week, documentation and paper trails. But I wasn't done. Phase 2 was already running. I'd been building a spreadsheet for 6 months, cross-referencing bank statements with their emergency requests, checking social media timestamps against transfer dates, color-coded tabs, red for confirmed lies, yellow for suspicious, green for legitimate. Lot more red than green? The patterns were obvious once you bothered to look. Natalie's car repair 6 months back. Said it was $1,500 for transmission issues. I transferred same day. But she'd posted beach photos that same week. Found them on Instagram. Her and the kids at the shore. Caption, sometimes you just need to get away. Yeah, get away on my transmission money. Mom's medical bill from spring. Called crying about an $800 balance she couldn't cover. Paid it directly to what I thought was the hospital. Pulled up the transaction. Went straight to her personal checking. Never saw proof it reached any hospital. Keith's business expense from 2 summers ago. $2,000 for equipment repairs. His business account showed the deposit. His personal account showed a withdrawal for the same amount 3 days later. Money went into a boat. A boat I'd never seen or heard about. 3 years of transaction. Every emergency I could verify. 40% had red flags. Money going somewhere other than claimed. Emergencies lining up with vacations, purchases, upgrades. Exposed total $26,000 in probable fraud. Not counting legitimate help. Just money they'd lied to get. Saved everything. Screenshots, statements, timestamps. Backed up to 3 different clouds. Not because I wanted to remember, because I knew exactly how this was going to end. 4 p.m. Phone lit up. Mom's name. Voice note notification. Audio muffled at first. Pocket dial vibes. Kids in the background. Aiden asking about something. Mom's voice, sweet. Go play with your sister, honey. Grandma needs to talk to Aunt Natalie. Footsteps. Door closing. Then her voice transformed. Told you he'd throw a tantrum. This is exactly why we didn't want him around the kids. Acting entitled ever since he got that office job. Natalie, distant but clear. The look on his face was priceless. Like he expected a red carpet after showing up an hour late. Pause. Then, Natalie again. Voice suddenly warm. Lily, honey, did you finish your cocoa? Good girl. Go help Aiden with his Legos. Footsteps fading. Door closing. Voice going cold. Did you see those gift bags? Probably clearance stuff. Trying to look generous when he can't bother calling about our lives. Mom, sharper. Walking around like he's special because he wears a tie now. Your father would be ashamed. At least when he drove that cab, he knew his place. Hand tightened around the phone. Dad died 4 years ago. Never saw me get promoted. Never saw me close deals moving millions in freight. And here was Mom using his memory to stuff me back in the box they'd built. Natalie laughed. Cold. Dismissive. Keith said we should wait a few weeks, then ask for a loan to cover the new roof. Think he'll go for it? He'll cool off by New Year's and transfer money like always. That's what he's for. Guilt. Trying to make up for embarrassing us by driving strangers around for tips. Remember at my wedding I told people he was in transportation logistics? Sounded better than taxi driver. They both laughed. Recording continued another minute. Them discussing check versus transfer. Speculating how much to squeeze for roof repairs. Natalie suggesting they could get me to pay for Aiden's summer camp if they framed it right. Like I was a problem to be managed, not a person. Then it cut off. Saved the voice note. Backed it up. Added to spreadsheet under evidence. They wanted an ATM? Fine. This ATM was going offline, permanently. Phone stayed quiet until 7:30 p.m. Then the avalanche started. Natalie, my phone isn't working? 5 minutes later. Did you do something to my account? 3 minutes after. Call me now, this isn't funny. Then caps lock entered the chat. Matt, what did you do? Lily can't call her friends this is Christmas. You are such a petty little man. Mom joined around 7:45. Natalie says her phone is off. What's going on? This isn't appropriate. Fix whatever you did. I raised you better than this. Didn't respond. Just watched messages pile up. Let the silence do its work. By 8 p.m., my phone was ringing nonstop. Different numbers, different tactics. Turned off sound, flipped it face down. Next morning, 43 missed calls, 78 texts, 5 voicemails. Natalie's messages had evolved overnight. Confused to suspicious to unhinged. You pathetic excuse for a brother. Keith is coming to your apartment. The kids are crying. You were always jealous of me. Mom was right about you. Short, sharp, each one a little dart. She'd sent 32 messages between midnight and 6 a.m. Timestamps painted a picture of someone spiraling, unable to sleep, firing rants into the void. Keith tried Amazon around 9 p.m. Card declined. His text, hey man, Amazon's not working. Can you check your account? Then when that flopped, Natalie's pretty upset. You know how she gets. Maybe just call and smooth things over? Smooth things over. The man's entire personality was conflict avoidance. Mom discovered her insurance was dropping when she logged into State Farm. 6 messages, each more outraged. How dare you? I am your mother. Your father would be rolling in his grave. I always knew you'd turn out like this. Cold, heartless. Blocked their numbers around 1 p.m. Not anger, just efficiency. The phone plan was annoying to them. The car was personal. Certified letter arrived at Natalie's door 3 days after Christmas. Green and white slip. Signature required. I know because she texted a photo of the envelope to a number I'd blocked, but screenshots travel. She didn't read the whole thing. Of course she didn't. Skimmed it, saw 60 days and refinance, and immediately started typing. Wave 1 hit my inbox from an unknown number. What is this? Some kind of joke? You can't just demand I refinance my car. This isn't even legal, Matt. Didn't respond. Let her sit with it overnight. Wave 2 came the next morning. Full rage mode. You are trying to take my car. The car I drive my children to school in. I will call the police. Everyone is going to know what kind of person you really are. Still nothing from me. just screenshots. Documentation. The folder was getting thick. Then wave 3. The bargaining. The guilt trip combo she'd perfected over decades. Matt, please. I know things got heated, but we're family. Think about Lily and Aiden. They need this car. I need this car. Can we just talk? I'll make the payments, I promise. Don't do this to them. Keith's contribution arrived an hour later. One text. Hey man, rough situation. Any way we can work something out? She's really stressed. Rough situation. The man watched his wife verbally assault me on Christmas morning, called me a taxi driver behind my back, and his response to legal consequences was rough situation. Incredible. Truly the human equivalent of a participation trophy. Then came the voicemail. Natalie's voice. Shaky at first, then building to full meltdown. You think you can just ruin my life because your feelings got hurt? You're pathetic, Matt. A pathetic, jealous little man who couldn't handle being told the truth. I will make sure everyone knows. Every single person. And when this blows up in your face, don't come crying to me. Saved it. Forwarded it to my attorney. Added it to the folder. She thought the car was hers. The paperwork disagreed. Around 8 p.m., building intercom buzzed. Dorman's voice. Sir, there's a Natalie and Keith here. Should I send them up? No thank you. Tell them I'm not available. She's quite insistent, saying it's an emergency. Everything's an emergency with her. Not available tonight or any other night until further notice. If they won't leave, call security. Heard muffled voices? Natalie's rising hysteria. Keith contributing nothing as usual. Dorman staying calm. Then Natalie screaming something unintelligible. 10 minutes later. Text from unknown number. Unknown. This is Keith. Using neighbor's phone. Nat's in the car crying. Please just talk to her. Me. No. Unknown. Come on, man. She's your sister. Me. She called me an embarrassment on Christmas morning. Called my career a joke. Laughed about squeezing more money from me. Kicked me out of her house, so no. Unknown. She didn't mean it like that. Me. I have the voice note. Know exactly how she meant it. You were there. You heard her. You said nothing. No response. Classic Keith. Met with my attorney in mid-January. Clean office. Functional. No frills. The kind of place where people go for solutions, not sympathy. He slid printed statements across the table. Bank records cross-referenced with my timestamps. These transfers don't match stated purposes. Flipping pages. This one. $1,500 for car repairs. Your sister's social media shows her at a beach resort same week. Posted publicly. Tagged location. Found that one myself. Good instincts. Next page. This $800 your mother claimed for medical bills. Went to her personal checking. No corresponding healthcare payment anywhere. Tapped the paper. And this $2,000 to your brother-in-law for business expenses. Withdrew 3 days later. Cash. Right before a boat registration appears in his name. So I wasn't imagining it. You were being systematically defrauded by your own family? That voice recording? Gold. Shows intent. Planning. Shows they viewed you as an ATM. Combined with financials, you've got a pattern any judge will find compelling. Family court? He leaned back. Your brother-in-law filed for divorce about 2 weeks ago. Your name came up in discovery because you're on half their paperwork. Co-signed loans. Title on that CRV. Authorized accounts. Court subpoenaed your records. That explained the certified letter from yesterday. My name appearing in their divorce because I was tangled in their financial mess. What do I need to do? Provide documentation you've already compiled. Voice note, statements, screenshots with timestamps. All becomes part of the record. You don't have to participate actively. Evidence speaks for itself. He organized papers into a folder. Car partition is moving forward. She hasn't responded to the 60-day notice. Hasn't attempted refinancing. Court date set for February. Based on this, you'll get your money back. And then some. I'd set the dominoes. Now I just had to watch them fall. By mid-January, losing my safety net stopped being annoying and became their full-time crisis. Every domino fell. Some faster than expected, some slower. All of them fell. Week 1. Phone stayed dead. Natalie tried switching carriers. Credit score laughed at her application. Mom's insurance lapsed January 31st. Tried getting her own policy. Driving record plus that mailbox incident meant quotes triple what I'd been paying. She drove anyway. Bold strategy. Week 2. Storage deadline hit. They'd tried to empty it but couldn't find a truck and couldn't afford movers. Got half out. Rest went to auction. Natalie posted on Facebook about her heartless brother destroying family heirlooms and Christmas decorations. Auction brought in $400. Facility took their cut. Remaining balance went to me since the lease was mine. Screenshot. Added to folder. Thanks for the evidence. Week 3. Car partition moved forward. She'd already torched her case with those voicemails. Attorney said it was the cleanest filing he'd processed in months. Judge didn't even need to deliberate. Looked at the co-ownership docs, looked at her harassment messages, made a face that said, "Ma'am, seriously?" Her final voicemail before the hearing was mostly screaming. Something about ruining her life. Something about her kids having no way to school. Something about karma, forwarded to the divorce court mediator. Week 4, mom got pulled over, got driving without insurance. Ticket plus court date. License suspended pending proof of coverage she couldn't afford. 2 years I'd covered her premium, and she couldn't be bothered saving a backup fund. Consequences, meet mom. Week 5. Divorce proceedings advanced. Court documents showed Natalie's attorney received my evidence packet. Financial records, voice note, social media screenshots, harassment texts. Everything in the light. According to the filing, when Natalie got served the evidence packet at work, she screamed so loud security escorted her out. Administrative leave became indefinite pending behavioral review. HR apparently used phrases like liability and pattern of conduct. Whoops. By February, it wasn't drama anymore. It was court dates, missed deadlines, and consequences that don't care about your feelings. Car partition hearing happened on a Tuesday. Natalie showed up with legal aid attorney, who clearly hadn't gotten the full picture. Mine presented co-ownership documents, loan payoff, certified notices she'd ignored, her threatening voicemails. Judge ruled in my favor. Vehicle to be sold at fair market value. Proceeds split according to ownership stake and loan amounts. Since I'd made all the loan payments, I got full sale price minus court costs. Took 3 weeks to actually sell. Dealership lowballed us. Had to list privately. Finally sold for 12 grand. Deposited into my savings. By March, everything they'd been duct taping with my money was collapsing in slow motion. Custody mediator sent an update. Keith got temporary custody during proceedings. Natalie's behavior at the February hearing, combined with evidence packet and workplace incident, painted a picture the judge didn't like. Supervised visitation twice monthly pending psychiatric evaluation. Mom called from the shelter 3 weeks later. Lost her apartment. License suspension made work impossible. Tried rideshare but couldn't sustain it. Missed rent. Evicted. Matt, please. I'm 72 years old. I'm in a shelter. Your father would be devastated seeing what you've become. Dad would be devastated knowing you lied to me for years to steal my money. I have records, Mom. Every fake emergency. Every dollar that went somewhere else. The home shopping debt. The beach trips Natalie took on my car repair money. All of it. Silence. I'm not your ATM anymore. Not your emergency fund. Not your backup plan. You spent years treating me like a resource, then mocking me behind my back. Now you're living with consequences. Shelter has good programs. Maybe try one. Hung up. April. Divorce finalized. Took longer than expected because Natalie kept missing dates and filing frivolous motions. Judge got tired of it. Final ruling cited documented financial manipulation, emotional abuse, instability. Supervised visitation. Keith got primary custody. She walked out with nothing but debt and a therapy mandate. Found out through public filings. Didn't need anyone to call. Records were right there. Same month, met someone. Grace. Worked in operations at a shipping company we partnered with. Been crossing paths at industry events for months. Finally grabbed coffee after she caught a calculation error in one of our route proposals. Saved my team from a 6-figure mistake. Then dinner. Then more dinners. Gave her the short version on our 3rd date. Her response. Sounds like you finally stopped letting people use you. Good. No judgment. No pity. Just understanding. I liked that about her. May brought a decision I'd been avoiding. The kids, Lily and Aiden, caught in the middle through no fault of their own. Been telling myself I was protecting them by staying away. That was a lie. I was protecting myself. Reached out through family court mediator. Made it clear I wasn't there to pay for anything. Not an ATM. Not a backup plan. Just wanted to be present. Wanted them to know they had family who cared about them as people. Mediator set up initial visit. Keith's new apartment was small but clean. 2 bedrooms. Nothing fancy. Honest. Aiden tackled me the second I walked through the door. Kid had grown 3 inches since Christmas. Lily held back, watching carefully. Same cautious expression she'd had when she was little and the adults were fighting. You came back, she said quietly. Yeah, I did. Are you going to leave again? Knelt to her level, looked her in the eyes. I never left you guys. I left people who were hurting me. But I never stopped thinking about you. Never stopped loving you. Never stopped being your uncle. She hugged me then. Held on tight. We stayed like that for a while. Became regular after that. Dinners on Wednesdays. Soccer games on Saturdays. Homework help when Lily needed it. Dinosaur discussions when Aiden wanted them. Grace came along sometimes. Kids liked her. She didn't try too hard. Just showed up and was herself. Real family. Not the performative kind. Not where affection is transactional. Just people who genuinely wanted to be around each other. Later that year, I got promoted to VP Corner Office with City Views. 3 years from driving a cab to running a region. Dad would have been proud. The real dad. Not the guilt trip version Mom kept invoking. December. 1 year since they kicked me out on Christmas morning. Grace and I had just gotten back from dinner. Good restaurant, good company, quiet night. On the couch watching something forgettable when my doorman buzzed. Sir, woman here. Says she's your sister. She's not doing well. Looked at Grace. She raised an eyebrow. Send her up. 2 minutes later. Knock at the door. Natalie looked like a different person. Thinner. Older. Confidence gone. Designer clothes gone. Wearing a coat that didn't fit right. And shoes that had seen better decades. Matt, voice cracked. Stood in the doorway. Didn't invite her in. What do you want, Natalie? I need help. Crying now. Real tears. Not the performative ones I'd seen 1,000 times. Lost my job. Lost my apartment. Staying in a women's shelter because I have nowhere else. Kids are with Keith. I see them twice a month with a supervisor watching. Mom's in subsidized housing working at a grocery store. Stocking shelves at 73 because nobody else would hire her. Everything fell apart. I know. I watched it happen. Please, Matt. I'm not asking for money. I know you won't give me money. I don't know what I need. I just need my brother back. Grace appeared behind me, looked at Natalie, then at me. I'll give you two a minute. Walked back to the living room. Natalie's eyes followed her. Something flickered across her face. Surprised that I wasn't alone anymore. Maybe jealousy? Maybe exhaustion. You have a girlfriend. I do. She seems nice. She is. Silence stretched. Natalie wiped her eyes with her sleeve. Mom was wrong. About everything. About you being an embarrassment. About Dad being ashamed. About you only being good for money. She was wrong. And I believed her. Because it was easier than admitting I was jealous of my little brother. Jealous? You got out. Made something of yourself without anyone's help. I married Keith because I thought he'd take care of me. And when that failed, I latched onto you. Used you. Mocked you behind your back so I didn't have to feel bad about it. You were doing everything right and I hated you for it. Leaned against the doorframe. Let her talk. I'm in therapy now. Court ordered, but I'm actually going. Learning things about myself I don't like. Patterns. How I treat people. Why I do it. Shaky breath. I'm not asking you to forgive me. I don't deserve that. Just needed you to know I finally understand what I did. And I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. She stood there crying in my hallway. The sister who'd called me an embarrassment. Kicked me out on Christmas morning. Spent years lying, using, mocking me behind my back. Now she was in a shelter. Rebuilding from nothing. Looking at me like I was her last hope. You know what's funny? I said. Christmas morning last year, Mom asked if I was still alone. Made that dig about no girlfriend, no real family. Like I was pathetic for being single. Natalie flinched. Now I've got Grace. Got the kids in my life. Got a career I built from nothing. And you're the one standing in my hallway begging for something you spent years taking for granted. I know, Matt. I deserve all of this. You do. More silence. She didn't argue. Didn't make excuses. Just stood there accepting it. I'm not going to save you, Natalie. That's not my job anymore. Never was. I just let you convince me it was. I know. But I'm not going to pretend you don't exist either. Kids need to see their mom get better. Actually better. Not pretend better. So here's what happens. You keep going to therapy. Keep working on yourself. Prove over months and years, not weeks, that you've actually changed. And maybe if you do all that, we can have something again. Her eyes widened. Really? Maybe. That's not a promise, that's a possibility. Depends entirely on you. She nodded fast. Okay, I can do that. I will do that. We'll see. She hesitated. Wanted to hug me. I didn't move toward her. Thank you, Matt, for even talking to me. I know you didn't have to. No, I didn't. Merry Christmas. Almost laughed. Almost. Merry Christmas, Natalie. She turned and walked to the elevator. Smaller than I remembered. Less sure of herself. Just a person who'd hit bottom trying to figure out which way was up. Closed the door. Walked back to the couch. Grace looked up from her phone. Everything okay? Yeah. Just my sister. The one who kicked you out last Christmas? That's the one. What did she want? Sat down next to her. Put my arm around her shoulders. Same thing everyone wants when they realize they messed up. A second chance. You gonna give her one? Thought about it. The voice note. The lies. Mom in that shelter. The kids asking why their uncle stopped coming around. Maybe, eventually. If she earns it? Grace nodded. That's fair. We went back to watching whatever was on. Phone stayed quiet. No texts from Mom. No emergencies. No guilt trips. Just peace. And for the first time in a long time, I didn't feel like anyone's backup plan. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that subscribe button. It really helps the channel and help us bring you more and better stories. Thanks.